And welcome, everybody, to Fat Guys on a Little Podcast. I am your co-host, Steve Markey, and always joined by...
Charles is here.
And then also our reliable Stu Gotts himself, Wiggs.
You couldn't get nobody else. All reliable fill in here.
Yeah,
What's going on?
We tried another person, but he almost died. So literally. And then, of course, via Skype from the Chicago area, BV, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, excellent. Now, we're going to change up the format a little this week. The college football wrapped up yesterday, Saturday, all the championship games. So any females listening, you can feel free to tune out right now. We're going to do a whole show.
This is going to be our college football bonanza.
Yes, we wanted Brian, but due to circumstances, he couldn't show up. So he'll just criticize everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, he'll just have critiques, but no involvement.
He'll tell us where we're wrong everywhere on Facebook. So we're going to start off the big championship games. Wiggs, what did you like? What game in the championship?
Well, hold on now. Yeah, so as far as this is going to be championship Saturday. Okay, yeah. So you want to go through championship? Okay.
What games did you like? What games you thought were turds, and what games you thought?
Well, I watched majority of them. Clearly, the winner was Alabama, Georgia.
It was a great game.
Yeah,
that was really the only game I thought had any
put Alabama to the test.
Any actual legit game from all the other ones were pretty much one-sided, which was to be expected.
Yeah.
But yeah,
apparently the UCF game was amazing too.
You know what? I flipped back in between that. They were down, then all of a sudden they were up, and
they scored 35-3 or something.
Yeah, they play Memphis, but still, who cares? Who cares about UCF and their fake national championship?
And now their quarterback's dead. They're pretty much not. They're probably going to lose their bowl game also. I happened to catch Friday. I did catch the Washington-Utah championship game, 10-3. Very unique. It's a very defensive game.
So Washington got into that game because they beat Washington State, right? Is that the
in the snow?
Yes,
yeah.
Snow. And that was unique. Anyone else catch that game besides me?
No.
I saw part of it.
It was quite boring, but it was in the background. I mean, some of it was very defensive. There was a lot of good hits in that game, actually. But 10-3, not.
What channel was it? Fox?
I think so. Yeah, I just happened to catch it on accident.
Okay,
and it was on. And I was like, well, I might as well watch this. And it was an okay game.
Who got the UCF game? Was that ABC?
That was on ABC.
Yeah, that was opposite of the CBS.
Yeah,
SEC.
Yep.
And then, of course, the late night was the Fox Big Ten championship game. Well, Northwestern put up a fight for about, 3 quarters? Would you say, Wiggs?
Oh, they had a nice little rally there in the third quarter and cut it close.
Then they fell apart.
Yeah. Northwestern, they had 4 losses going into that game, correct?
Northwestern did not win a non-conference game this year.
Yeah.
Great.
They went 0-3.
Yeah. So, awesome.
The Fighting Fitzgeralds.
How many yards passing did the Ohio State quarterback have?
He had just shy of 500 yards passing and 5 touchdowns.
Jesus. Wasn't it literally 499?
Yeah, I mean, I think on the season he's like 4,600 yards, 51 touchdowns. He gone.
Yeah.
He gone straight to the pro. It's fun to watch him, but I wish he'd come back, but no, he gone.
You think he's
and
leaving?
Then opposite of that.
Him and Bosa?
Oh, yeah, well, Nick Bosa, obviously, that was he made a decision week 3. But
he hurt his nuts, was like, peace, I'm going to the NFL.
I said he's with his friend headed to the NFL. What were you going to say, Charles?
No, so opposite of that was the ACC game, which I'm ripping on Northwestern, but Pitt was just as bad.
Yeah, that was not good.
And Clemson looked amazing.
What was the final of that? It was like
100-10.
It wasn't even close. It was raining. It was like a sloppy mess, and they still just took it to Pitt. They scored on the first play from scrimmage. I think it was like a 75-yard run, and then that was it.
And, Bill, what are your thoughts on that championship
42-10
game
Clemson
with Alabama and Georgia?
I thought that Bama was very fortunate to win. They played basically like crap for 3 quarters. Georgia is a very good team, but has a hard time finishing games. That being said, as a Bama fan, I've seen all I want of Georgia, so I'm not at all upset by them not making the playoffs.
Bill, do you think Kirby Smart gave Alabama that game?
No.
You don't?
No, I'm conspiracy theory.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying a conspiracy. I'm talking
the
the play call he pulled there on 4th and 11 at midfield. Virtually gave Alabama the football game right there.
It's the worst.
It is odd though because Bama was playing. I mean, they're play calling for most of the whole first half and part of the third quarter was just abysmal, and it looked like in one play Smart decided he was going to trump the bad play calling with that. I don't know what they were thinking by that, especially considering that the fake included just trying to sneak your running quarterback out there in the
That was the best part.
Formation.
Let's put Justin Fields in the formation, which Alabama didn't even fall for because they were in a base defense. Why don't you call timeout and abort that play right there?
The only time that I can think of that wasn't sort of like right at, well, I guess that was right at the end of a half too. Basically, any time that there is a punt, that when Bama is receiving a punt and it's, say, in between the 30s, I don't think since Saban's been there I have ever seen them do anything but go punt safe. It doesn't matter how long the distance is for the first down or whatnot. That's their standard play in the middle of the field, and he has to know that. So I don't know what the hell he was. I mean, it would have made more sense for them to just go for it on 4th and 11 than it did to go for that fake punt.
Or do you just punt it, and you have Jalen Hurts who comes in? It was a great, great story, no doubt about it. But he's known for not being a great passing quarterback. Why don't you pin him deep and then make him charge down the field?
Well, yeah, I don't want to give the impression at all that I meant that they should have gone for it. No, they should have just punted the ball because they had a lead. And yeah, the idea is, you have to assume that Hurts, especially he'd come off an injury. He's hardly played all year. He had to be taken out of a game last year because you forced him to throw and he couldn't do it. What would make you think that he could take a team 90 yards, for example? You want to pin them deep there and force them to do something special.
As a Bama fan, are you glad that they don't have to face Georgia again?
Yeah, I've seen all I want to see at Georgia. I also don't think that the game, I mean, not without, the game could have been very different. They got a stop and a long punt return right at the beginning of the game and were driving really quickly to score, and had Tagovailoa not thrown that interception in the end zone, first drive, and they had just gone and scored. I think it might have been a different game, but yeah, no, I don't have any. I have no interest in seeing them again.
That was the sloppiest I've seen Bama by far. Like they look sloppy at times.
That was the worst I've seen Tua play all season.
They looked nervous for the first part of the game. I mean, they were dropping passes. They were just making dumb plays. Guys were lined up in the wrong place. Picked a great time to have a bad game, but
what's your opinion on the injury? Do you think it's what is the? I know that they're not going to discuss it or whatever.
Oh no,
high ankle sprain.
He has a high ankle sprain. Apparently, it's
2 weeks.
Similar to an injury that Hurts had a procedure on middle of the season. They think they're hoping he'll be able to come back and practice when they start practicing in a couple weeks, and they fully expect him to play. Don't know if he'll be 100% or not, but I don't think that there's not really any question at this point whether he'll be, available to play.
So
they need him for the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's quite a.
That goes without saying.
That offense is. I mean, Hurts did a really good job. It's a great story, and but no, that offense is a lot different with Hurts long term.
So the announcement. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say their defense isn't. This isn't like your prototypical Saban Bama defense, and so if that offense can't score 35 a game or more, they're gonna have a hard time winning the championship.
So the 4 final teams were announced today. There was always a question on number 4. The other 3 were pretty much set.
Well, because 1 and 4 were playing each other, so you knew that was.
So Oklahoma is the big team that gets the 4th spot. Not Ohio State or who's the other one that was in the running?
Georgia, pretty much.
Yeah, they were all saying that Georgia could have got in there.
Yeah,
too.
so Oklahoma, you got Alabama, Oklahoma, and one in the first game. Clemson, Notre Dame in the next game. Let's talk a little Clemson, Notre Dame first, since we just talked about Alabama.
You're going to get Clemson, Notre Dame before you're going to get so 4:00 game is going to be Clemson, Notre Dame. So they're pushing them up early.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are expecting Notre Dame to get blown out. I know I'm a slappy, whatever you want to say, but a couple years ago in Clemson, in the rain, Notre Dame lost 24-21 or somewhere along that lines with the Kaiser, and they were in the game, and they're on the goal line near the end of the game and missed the pass. So
this ain't a couple years ago, though.
Yeah, well, no, you're right, because Clemson's quarterback's worse now.
True freshman.
Yeah, he's a true freshman.
Yeah.
So I see it's a close game. Clemson may still win. That's fine. But I see it's a close game, a 50-50 game to me. I know everyone hates Notre Dame, whatever, and they suck and whatever. But I think it's going to be a close game. And Wiggs,
so I guess if we're going to go around the room, what are you predicting with Clemson, Notre Dame?
20. Well, probably around the same. 24-22 Clemson.
Wow.
In a close game. Now Notre Dame needs to be close because if they get blown out, and the next time they go 12-0 with no conference championship game,
they'll get bounced out.
They'll listen, assholes, we let you in last time you got blown out.
Do you think, talking about the 4 playoff teams, do you think Notre Dame should have been possibly 4? I have no problem Notre Dame getting in.
One's undefeated, one's got a loss.
Yeah, but
no one has an issue with the championships until they're in the playoff picture. That's my whole rebuttal to a lot of that.
First of all, the committee thing's a joke anyways. Nobody cares about conference championships because they've clearly made that point. They don't matter. I'm just saying with the extra game being played, everybody had something to lose yesterday. Sure. Clemson could have, Lawrence could have got knocked out. Pitt could have had the game of their life. And Clemson bounces out because they had to play the extra game. I'm just making the argument, why not Oklahoma in the 3rd slot and have Notre Dame
because Oklahoma lost to Texas, who lost to Maryland.
I know, but it doesn't. Well,
I mean, you can poke holes in a lot of the teams.
You poke holes in everybody.
In an undefeated team.
3 undefeated teams,
why
1, 2, 3.
Then why didn't UCF get in? We're talking undefeated teams.
Yeah, but you're also talking about competition level. I mean, you can't. You can't sit there and talk about non-Power 5 undefeated and look at the schedule. I mean, it's that writes itself to me.
I'm fine with putting UCF in.
I discount that second game or the extra game argument simply because I know that there's this, the conspiracy theorist loves to talk about how Notre Dame is Notre Dame and ratings, and if they have a season and there's a way to put them in, they will. But they're virtually in a scenario, and you've seen this now over the course of the last 5 years because they've had some good teams. If Notre Dame does not go undefeated, they have virtually no chance of getting into the top 4 in a playoff.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
So now their schedule, it turned out this year that a number of the teams that they played had down seasons, but you have to admit, too, that they consistently play a schedule that is equal to or better than the majority of championship teams in Power 5 conferences. So it's not like they're playing a bunch of chumps or they're scheduling. I mean, one of the arguments you make against Georgia is, they played absolutely nobody whatsoever. I mean, not even to the level of a middle, of a decent team, non-conference. And the whole thing about putting Oklahoma, I think it's obvious the committee has a bit of at the very best, they're inconsistent. So they look at different things in different places, and it doesn't all seem to kind of work together. But there seems to be this sort of assumption that other teams are, with the eye test, better than Notre Dame. And so the only way I think you could justify putting Oklahoma in front of Notre Dame is if you could make some sort of an argument with legitimate some empirical evidence that Oklahoma was a considerably better team than Notre Dame. I know that there's talk about that Vegas would put all 3 of those teams as favorites over Notre Dame, but one thing that they were talking about on the show this morning, the playoff show this morning, I thought was pretty telling, is that you look at Oklahoma and okay, great, Kyler Murray's great and they can put up points galore. They've also not played any what you consider to be top defenses in the country. And their defense is abysmal. I mean, it's not like just flawed or they have a tendency to give up a few big plays. I mean, they're giving up 40, 50 points against everybody. Notre Dame doesn't have these major, they don't have these elite playmakers, but they don't have a whole lot of weaknesses either. They're very good on offense. They're very good on defense. And they're going to be tight. I don't see them being an easy out for anybody, Alabama, Clemson included. And I don't think that it would make any sense to put Oklahoma, Georgia, or Ohio State ahead of them if you're going to put one of them into the playoff.
So what do you think the game's going to be between Clemson and Notre Dame?
I think this is one of those games that it either gets away from Notre Dame late and Clemson gets on a run and ends up winning a relatively close game that turns out to look worse than it was, or Notre Dame wins the game outright. I think Clemson is they had a very tough first part of the year. They started to get hot against teams which aren't particularly stellar, and they've been getting most of their reputation on beating up on inferior teams. I mean, when we were talking about the championship games, I was thinking, this is sort of like I think would be a good argument. You look at some of these championship games, a good argument against these super conferences. these 14, 12, 14, 16 team conferences to have these championship games, because the way they end up being set up, the talent ends up being all pushed onto one side, and you end up with a lot of snoozer championship games. And then other than, like, for example,
Like the Big Ten.
Pardon?
Like the Big Ten.
All of them.
All the Big Ten, ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're
Some
talking
of that
about,
is just the
when
school
Wiggs said
placement
Clemson,
conference.
took a risk there, literally the only risk in that game was that, the quarterback gets hurt, or some major part of their team gets hurt, because there was almost no chance they were going to lose to Pittsburgh.
No, you're
They could have
right.
played like total crap and still won the game.
Yeah, but that's the risk of playing the extra game, I'm saying. Is, you could lose. Kyler Murray goes out with a
He's saying you
knee
put
injury.
something out there.
You're putting
I
something on the
understand.
line you necessarily don't have to. That I'm not bashing Notre Dame. This is not my argument. That's not the hill I'm going to die on here. I'm just saying, like, they're sitting at home, which is fine. They don't play in a conference they're already in. But all these teams, Tua could have went out with a major knee injury.
I was hoping.
In the extra game. This is what I'm talking
Probably
about.
broke both
Damn.
legs. Come on, let's be honest. If Ohio State was in the playoffs or in Notre Dame's in the playoffs, yeah, I'm hoping every member
I don't
of
want him to
Alabama.
be 4.
I want
didn't want him to
I
be.
want every member of Alabama to get hurt in the championship game. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugar. So, Wiggs, what is your prediction on the score of that game?
You know what? I'm with Bill. Clemson hasn't played anybody this year. Really,
They struggled
I can
against
make that
Syracuse.
argument for almost all the teams in the playoffs. I mean, Notre Dame had that
Well,
game against Michigan. I'm saying, but the schedules for all of them weren't nothing spectacular.
Well, Alabama did play the Citadel.
Yeah.
That's a perennial powerhouse.
That was a close game in the first half, by the way. Well, I mean, Clemson's got a very active front seven. I think Trevor Lawrence is a pretty good quarterback when he scrambles out. But you don't know. They've never played in a tight game. We saw Alabama yesterday struggle in a close game. When your quarterback's thrown 3 passes in the fourth quarter because every game's been a rout, you don't know how your team's going to react when they're in a tight game. So I don't know what to expect from Clemson. It's tough.
So
It's
you
tough.
don't have a pick?
Oh, I'll pick Clemson because I hate Notre Dame.
There we go. Charles,
Yeah.
and who you pick?
And obviously I'm going to pick Notre Dame, but the one thing that just scares me, and I thought as I looked it up, Clemson's number 2 in the NC2A against the rush.
They got a stellar defensive
It's just
front,
tough.
man.
So one of the things that helped Notre Dame was after what's his nuts came back into the 4-game suspension, the running back, something Williams. Anyway, long story short, I'm a terrible fan, but nonetheless, he came back after a 4-game suspension and evened out the offense for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I think that as much as the change to Ian Book was a big thing, but I think that also gaining a rushing offense helps. What scares me is that Clemson is stout against the run.
We put too much into that. I get your point, but when we look and say, oh, they're number 2 in the country against the rush, couple major factors there that make that possibly misleading, and they do have a good defensive line. One is that they haven't played a lot of not even just really good teams, but good run teams. And the second thing is that they play most of their games from ahead. So when you're winning when you're putting up 50, 60 a game against a bunch of scrubs, how much are they going to run the ball anyway? You're not going to see high rushing averages against them because teams aren't in games long enough with them to run.
Don't forget, Michigan had number 1 defense in the country, too. So
Yeah, exactly.
Until they go on the road.
Until someone realized you
think
could throw a
Notre Dame will
slant.
run better than-
Oh,
So
do
they
you
take
realize
a bus
Run on
away from
Clemson
Ann
better than
Arbor.
you probably
you realize you got athletes and you can't cover them?
All right, so most of us feel, some of us feel it'll be close.
I'm way happier they're playing Clemson. not
Yeah, well,
Bama,
yeah.
is my
So then we
point.
go to the other game, of course, Alabama and Oklahoma. Now, didn't Oklahoma and Alabama have a shootout, or was that was Oklahoma and
Georgia.
Sorry, I have that backwards. So you never know here, but I think a high-scoring game, like a 31-24 Alabama, would be my guess.
I think it's going to get even higher. You're crazy.
Well, there's got to be some defense from Alabama, though.
No, there'll be no defense from Oklahoma.
That's the problem.
Alabama,
Well, I said 31.
Alabama will shut down Kyler Murray, and then he's their whole team.
Oh, so you're saying Alabama big?
Oh yeah, I
Charles?
have.
I think Bama in the 40s, Oklahoma in the 20s.
And Bill, you going with Oklahoma?
No, but I don't have, I guess, maybe the same just blatant confidence on that. Kyler Murray is exactly as a quarterback what has always given Alabama's defenses fits.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks that can get out and run and
Shiny-
create
shiny football.
pass and run are problems. I think a big part of it, I think it'll be an up and down game. I think probably one thing to look at. We're talking about Tua's ankle. Was it Hollywood Brown, the receiver for the primary receiver for Oklahoma?
He looked like he got messed up yesterday.
Yeah, if he doesn't play, I think you saw that like Oklahoma have a lot more trouble offensively when he went out in that game, and so I think that if he doesn't play, it could be more of a blowout. I think that Bama can slow Oklahoma's offense down. They can't completely stop it. That being said, I would think that they should be able to score 50 or 60 simply because everybody else did. So I don't know if it's going to be big, but I think that they should win the game.
I like 31-24. These big games tend to be a little slower.
It's pretty tight.
A lot of nerves. I think Alabama's defense slows Oklahoma down enough, and they win 31-24. Some craziness probably happened. There'll probably be some special team shenanigans coming on.
I'm on Team Wiggs. You're giving Oklahoma's defense way more credit.
I've seen Oklahoma play a lot. They're fun offensive, but they are atrocious on defense.
I think Bama is more likely to score 31 in the first half than to just score 31 for the whole game.
Yeah. They will run the ball down their throat.
So then you're probably most likely looking at an Alabama/Clemson championship if everything goes to
For the fourth time.
I have Clemson down there, but I don't know. That's a toss-up. I have 31-28 Clemson is what I put.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
what are you basing that on? Tell me.
Pure gut feeling.
Okay.
I mean, Alabama cruises.
There's no
a lot.
science.
There's no science to that one whatsoever.
Okay.
I think one of the Clemson guys is going to give the shocker to one of the guys on the ground. Like Ohio State guy got a couple years ago. I think, and just because of Clemson's coach's name, you got to let him stay.
Dabo, baby.
When
You
your
all
name
in? Get your poker chip.
yeah, when you're a Dabo. Bill, Wiggs, what is your thoughts? Is that what you see, or you see Alabama just
if
going
both
again?
teams are completely healthy, Tua's healthy, there's no ankle issues, I like Alabama in that game.
Charles?
I like Alabama big. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I think it's Wiggs. I agree. It's their world. We're all living in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Here's hoping Notre Dame can pull it out, but I
would love to see
as
the
a
Irish
realist,
Bowl.
it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. And Bill, well, you're going with Notre Dame?
If both teams are healthy, like we said, if both teams are healthy, I like Bama against Clemson bigger than against Oklahoma.
Wow. On what basis?
Simply because Clemson doesn't have a completely, sort of unstoppable offense. They can be rattled. They can be slowed down. Their defense is good, but they haven't just, better teams will score. It's not as good a Clemson team as there's been the last few years. And if Bama's healthy, it's better than probably any team they've had since Saban's been there.
Right.
So
you can't give Nick Saban a month to prepare for anybody. He's going to beat you.
Yeah, that's true.
And the problem isn't that Alabama is ultimately its depth. I
Yeah.
mean, there's 5-star recruits that are hanging out waiting for
Because
other.
they cheat, and they have not been caught yet. That's all there is to it.
Like, it's crazy.
I mean, they all cheat, but
Everybody
Bama's cheating
cheats.
I
better.
agree with I think Bama would give NFL teams fits. So
that's pure jealousy, Steve.
You're goddamn right. It doesn't matter why we're talking about this.
Don't
Because
hate.
Notre Dame's going to win it all, goddammit.
Oh, maybe. Put it out there.
I'm changing my
shot.
predictions. Notre Dame by 10 against Clemson, and then Notre Dame by 40 against Alabama. And if they play Alabama, I'm betting your ass, you motherfucker.
Oh,
Go Irish.
I don't want points
Oh my
either.
God. You know what, Steve?
I'll lose my
If
50
Notre Dame,
straight
if
up.
Notre Dame beats Clemson, I won't even bet with you.
No, fuck you.
No,
I'm
Bill,
gonna
you bet with
you.
them.
Oh, man.
You will
It's
bet
not-
with me, you bastard.
because
I'll
it's
come
not
down and drop
fair.
trowel right on your bed pillow.
It's not fair.
it is. You
It
take
is.
Howie's college fund
the
from
only way I'll
him.
bet
Yes.
that with you is if Hurts is a starting quarterback.
Yeah, $50 straight up if Notre Dame plays
Oh,
them.
man.
I don't want no points either, damn it.
Fine, okay. If that's really what you want to do.
Steve's
God
putting
damn
his
right.
fandom on the line
That's
right
right.
there, boy.
This
And
is.
then,
I would normally expect Charles to do this. Usually Charles lets his homer.
Hey, I bet you the last time Notre Dame played Alabama, and I lost bad.
Steve started to sound like Michigan.
They looked atrocious.
Steve sounds like
Was that
Michigan fan a
2012?
few
What
weeks
is
ago.
that?
Huh?
Is that 2012?
2012 Alabama
Yeah.
butt stomped.
Oh yeah, that was a beatdown.
Yeah, that was it. They got stone cold stuttered and just passed out. But I bet him then, and I'll bet him again if it happens. Probably won't happen though. So let's go recap. Now we saw the big boys.
So
start at
that's-
the beginning of the bowl
Yeah,
season
so-
here. The ones where no one's going to watch.
To Wiggs' point, it looks like all the bowls are set. We're going to go through ESPN's list here.
All right.
It's starting. Your bowl season, folks, for you NC2A football fans, is going to start on December 15th. The Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl at noon on ABC.
Must
folks.
watch TV.
What day is that? Is that a Thursday or a Monday or Tuesday? What is that?
No one knows. Let's check it out here. The 15th is going to be a
Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, Saturday. all
Okay.
right.
Well, yesterday was the first, so
In this game,
It hurts
we
to
got-
think, Bill.
simple math, Steve.
God damn it. That's why I want to lose the bet.
we got some perennial powerhouses in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. We got North Carolina A&T versus Elkhorn State. Steve, who do you got?
I just want to know the attendance. What's everyone's? I'm gonna say 2,000 people will be at this stadium, maybe 3,000. And Elkhorn State, I don't know.
Okay, if Steve's locked in at Elkhorn State. Wiggs, who you got?
Anybody with the A&T behind their name, that's what I'm taking.
Right? And BV, weigh in on this great matchup we got here.
I'm going to go Elkhorn State simply because they're the only ones I recognize.
And I'm going to go with Elkhorn State because what, Steve McNair's
Yeah,
from Elkhorn State?
I thought he played. I was
They're
going to
gonna
say, I
channel- they're
wasn't
gonna
for
channel
sure.
The late great Steve McNair.
But seriously, the attendance is going to be like 3,000 people.
In
And
Mercedes-Benz,
80,000.
yeah.
How many
There's gonna be
parents
no
and
one
students?
there.
Yeah.
All right.
Give or take.
They'll give away enough tickets to at least fill half of it.
Oh, okay. So half filled. That's our prediction.
So the Air Force
That's
Reserves are going to have a lot of cadets in this.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. So still on the 15th, we've got the New Mexico Bowl.
We got two bowls on the 15th.
One's at noon, one's at 2. You're going to have a bit of a Sophie's choice.
Oh,
Do you
man.
abandon the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl?
Yes.
All right, New Mexico Bowl. We got North Texas, Utah State in Albuquerque, New Mexico at 2 o'clock. Steve, who you got?
Utah State. Isn't that what Urban Meyer
That was
coached years?
Utah.
Yeah, Utah proper. Yeah.
Oh, it was Utah? I thought it was Utah
Yeah.
State.
No, Utah proper.
Utah State, since I kind of heard of them somewhere. Utah State. And there will be 4,000 people in attendance at that
All right,
one.
in New Mexico, Steve's got Utah State. Wiggs, who you got?
I'm going Utah State as well.
Yeah. BV, who you got on the New Mexico Bowl?
Utah State's a pretty good team. I think they should win that going away.
And I don't even know jack about North Texas, so I'm going to go with Utah State because, so Utah State, a clean sweep in the May Street Studios for New Mexico Bowl,
Bet it.
Utah State. All right.
Call your
We're
bookie.
going to Vegas with all these predictions.
Yeah.
after this.
All right. So now we're moving on. Still on the 15th at 2:30.
3 bowls in
Jeez.
one day?
Dude,
Within
this is
2.5
huge.
hours?
Oh, man, that's a lot of
We
useless
got
football.
the Auto Nation Cure Bowl. Tulane versus Louisiana at 2:30 on CBS and SN in Orlando, Florida. Steve, who you got?
Well, since I can't stand New Orleans food, I'm going to go with Tulane.
Well, you realize
Where's
Tulane
Tulane?
is in New Orleans, right?
Yeah, I was saying, because you hate their food.
Geography lesson while we're
I
here.
failed. Still going. Wait, is Tulane further away from New Orleans?
That I don't
close
know.
to the epicenter.
Tulane is actually in New Orleans.
Ah! Give me the other team.
No,
Give me
you're locked in
Louisiana.
at Tulane.
Son of a-
Once you take your hand off the chess piece, it is moved.
Oh, man.
Well, since we're
Wiggs.
naming former players of alma mater, I'm taking Sean King and the Green Wave. Give me Tulane.
You did not just pull out a Sean King.
All right. And BV, who you got? Tulane, Louisiana in the Auto Nation Cure Bowl.
The fuck is Auto Nation?
This Louisiana Tech or
Louisiana.
Well,
I didn't know this was
Straight
I
Louisiana.
didn't know it was actually
I think
Louisiana.
it's Louisiana Lafayette
Okay.
Okay.
is their major thing, but UL, also known as ULL. I want to know what the hell is Camping World Stadium?
That would be.
It's in Orlando, but is that like? I mean,
don't
is that
know.
like the secondary venue in Orlando or something?
I don't know. Mickey Mouse does shows there.
Yeah. So who
Yeah,
you got?
you know
BV?
what? Just for the sake of, I'm going to take Louisiana.
Yeah, and I was thinking that too. I'm going to go with Louisiana with BV to get some action going in this room. We got 2 Tulanes, 2 Louisianas.
I always thought Tulane was in Texas. I don't
You
know
thought
why.
wrong.
No, yeah.
So
Wow.
I screwed the pooch on
All
that one.
right. So moving on from Steve's bad geography, we've got another bowl on the 15th at 3:30.
God, this day's just busy.
This is weird. I got to take
Capital-
Capital Bowl season.
So-
man. Kick it off.
We've got Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl,
The names are the best of these bowls.
Fresno State versus Arizona State at 3. Now I actually I'm into this game a little
This
bit.
might
I'll
be
be
Because of
honest.
Herm?
Herm, man.
The Herm,
He's
yeah.
one of my surprises of the
I'm
years.
going
We're going
with
to talk
Herm.
about a little later.
I'm taking Arizona State right away.
Okay.
It might be the game of the day. I haven't heard. the
I'm
rest
so
of the bowl
far. I'm
games.
thinking that. So Steve's
I-
locked in
Arizona
Arizona
State.
State.
I'm going to Sun Devils as well. I got
Okay.
the Fighting Herms.
The Fighting
Okay,
Herms.
now BV, who you got? Fresno State, Arizona State. BV.
You know, I'm a big fan of Herm, but I think Fresno will win this game. I think
Yeah.
they're a better team.
And again, I'm with Team BV because
Do
I
they
think
have another
Fresno
car
just gave
quarterbacking
Boise
for
State the business in the Mountain West Championship or something like that, didn't they?
Yeah, no, they won in overtime. It's like
Yeah,
19-6.
so
Well,
I'm
they
with BV.
gave him the business.
Yeah, so me and BV locked in a
You don't
Fresno
go
State.
against teams that give other teams the business.
The
Yeah,
business.
I didn't know about the business.
Okay.
No one told me about
So
that.
now we're still on the 15th.
Jesus, I'm going to have to watch a lot of
this
football
is
that day.
amazing.
I'm gonna go to coma watching
all
all
of
this stuff.
us are just going to be riveted.
There's not one good game on
I got to
all of
take the 16th off because the 15th
Yeah.
is going to wear me. So here we are. We're at 5:30. Raycom Media. It looks like chlamydia. It's Camellia Bowl. Georgia Southern versus Eastern Michigan. 5:30 in Montgomery, Alabama. Georgia Southern versus Eastern. 5:30. Who you got, Steve?
Eastern made a bowl?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Eastern because that's got to be end of the world type stuff. Eastern Michigan.
Okay.
You couldn't pay me to watch this bowl. I'll take Georgia Southern
This
just
is
for
a
that.
rough one right
Okay,
here.
now wait. Isn't Georgia Southern a historically black college? BV, I'm defaulting to you.
I think so.
I don't believe so.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Georgia Southern, I do know, did not have a program for a long time, and then they reinstated. Bill Curry helped reopen the I remember because Curry's got a long history with Alabama, and they scheduled a television game against Bama the year that they
If you ever wonder why we have
reopened the
BV on the podcast,
The insight.
That's the Bill Curry
he
reference.
just pulled out a Georgia Southern like deep cut. All right, BV, Georgia
I would
Southern,
not know
Eastern
that if it
Michigan,
wasn't if it didn't have a Bama.
the pride of Alabama.
How
BV,
many Georgia Southern graduates wrestled in the AWA?
BV, who you
I know
got?
that.
Georgia Southern, Eastern.
I don't know. I don't really know anything about either team at this point, but I think that my general tendency is that I'll take the shit colleges from shit football players from Georgia over the shit players from Michigan. So Georgia
you're
Southern.
taking Georgia Southern. I'm going to take Eastern. I'm going to take the home team in that
Because the
one.
apocalypse is happening.
Yeah, so that's me and Steve locked into Eastern, BV and Wiggs on Georgia Southern for the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl.
Random Eastern fact: they
Camellia?
cut most of their sports programs.
Let's pay for
One
this
more-
bowl trip.
Yeah,
One
they-
more random Eastern fact. One former famous quarterback from Eastern Michigan, Dan Enos, currently the quarterback coach at Alabama.
Wow.
First off, he's not famous. Damn, I was waiting for
Well, I mean,
Charlie
as
Batch.
far as Eastern Michigan goes, he's pretty
TJ
damn
Lang.
famous.
All right, moving on to we're still on the 15th, folks.
Oh my God, we're going to go football.
This
coma.
is going to be a
Bad
6-hour long
football coma.
podcast just going through the bowl games. So we got the RL Carriers, New Orleans. I don't know which way you want to go. Steve's favorite place on the planet, the New Orleans Bowl, Middle Tennessee versus Appalachian State, 9 o'clock, ESPN on the 15th.
9 o'clock.
Hey, this one's in the Superdome, son, in New Orleans.
Man, prime time.
All right, so who you got? Middle Tennessee, Appy State.
I'm going to go App State just because of what they did to Michigan all those years ago, and they almost did it to Penn State this year. I'll go Appalachian State.
All
Yep.
right.
Steve stole my thunder for the exact same reasons. I was going to pick
That's why
App
you go
State.
first.
Yep.
All right.
That's why you get the grill up.
We got two Appy States. BV, what do you got?
I mean, App State is legit. I think they're gonna win this one pretty big.
So we got. I think we're all four locking in on Appalachian State. I don't know jack about Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's 4 for Appy State
So-
in the RL Carriers New Orleans
Lee
Bowl.
Corso's going to have a very busy day on the 15th.
Dude, he's gonna
He'll
have
be
to.
predicted left and
Oh
right.
my God! All right.
Is the 15th
Now,
over?
we're moving on. If you didn't have enough football action on the 15th, we're waiting 3 days. They got to give you a little hangover time. December the 18th, we got the Cheribundi Boca Raton Bowl.
The Boca Raton Bowl.
Boca Raton.
What is Cheribundi?
I don't know what it is, but
Is it
it's
related to
responsible.
Al Bundy?
This is UAB versus Northern Illinois. Just Northern Illinois won the MAC, correct? Am I
That
right?
I don't know.
They're in
BV,
the
am I-
MAC. I know that. I don't know if they won it.
Okay, so this is on the 18th at 7 p.m. on ESPN in Boca Raton, Florida.
Wait, UAB's not in the MAC.
No, but
No,
Northern
Northern
Illinois is. And I believe
okay.
they
Yeah,
beat
okay, I'm
Buffalo
sorry.
in the MAC championship in Ford Field. I'll have to check that, but I'm pretty sure. I know you guys are all wondering that.
You know they won the MAC championship.
Yeah, see, there you go.
UAB
So,
is from Alabama, correct?
yeah, Alabama, Birmingham.
And they know how to cheat well there, so I'm going to go with UAB.
UAB for Steve because they're cheaters.
I got to pick one?
Wiggs, who you got?
What the hell, Wiggs?
Oh,
You
man.
can't pick the Maple Leafs.
No. Maple Leafs are like solid. We can have a hockey breakdown later, too. I'm going to go with Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois, the MAC champs. Who you got, BV?
Well, UAB actually just beat Middle Tennessee, and I think it's like the Conference USA Championship yesterday, and they actually had shut their program down for a few years. They just brought it back
cheating?
up last year, and I think they're pretty good. A lot of team speed. I think they'll beat Northern Illinois. So I'm taking UAB.
UAB. So we got Steve with UAB, Wiggs Northern Illinois, BV UAB. I'm going Northern Illinois. I'm going with the MAC champs. I'm with Wiggs on this one. Give me Northern Illinois in the Boca Raton Bowl.
Boca Raton. Did they get a timeshare seminar after the bowl?
Yes. If you want the free breakfast. All right, so now, that was the only game on the 18th. They loaded up the 15th, and they dried you right
Well, it is a
up.
Tuesday. So.
Yeah, so now, set your DVRs for December the 19th. The DXL.
Oh, Steve's Bowl.
Steve and BV Bowl. The DXL Frisco Bowl. San Diego State versus Ohio. Not Ohio State. Ohio. 8 p.m. ESPN from Frisco, Texas. DXL Frisco Bowl, San Diego State, Ohio. Who you got, Steve?
Frisco, Texas? That's where it's from?
Frisco, Texas, baby.
I'm going to go with San Diego State. They've had players on their team over the years that I've actually heard of. So San Diego State.
San Diego State.
I'll take Marshall Falk and the Aztecs as well.
There you go.
Yeah, there's the one player.
BB, who you got?
Before I pick, I hope that they charge the same fat guy premium for these tickets that they're going to sell for this bowl
Yeah, I know that's
that they
right.
do in their damn stores, because you pay like 30% more than anything else you pay at a regular place.
It's the extra fat.
I'm going with Ohio on this one.
You're going with Ohio. I am with Steve and Wiggs. I want San Diego State. BB's on an island with Ohio.
Ohio.
All right. So now, December 20th. Again, these single days, man. We got the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
Bad Boy Mowers.
Man, can this podcast sponsor a bowl next year?
I think we're gonna.
We got Marshall, South Florida, 8 p.m. ESPN. It's in Raymond James Stadium, which is, I believe, where the Tampa Bay Bucks play, correct?
It is.
Yes. So, okay, Bad Boy Mowers, Gasparilla Bowl, Marshall, South Florida. Steve, who you got?
First off, do the winners get a free mower?
I don't know. I'll check into that.
Matthew McConaughey told me to take Marshall, and I'm going to take Marshall.
Oof. Steve's on Marshall.
The rambling herd.
I'll
Give
take
Steve
the
herd.
Rumbling herd.
I'll take the Southern team speed over that Midwest speed. I'll take South Florida.
BV, who you got?
Matthew
Marshall, South
McConaughey's
Florida.
disappointed in you right now, Wiggs.
First, Steve, it's the thundering herd,
Thundering,
not the
damn it.
rambling or
I'm all
rumbling.
messed up.
Yeah.
But
all right.
this is a virtual home game for South Florida, so I'll take South Florida.
And Steve is on the island with Marshall because I am taking South Florida as well. Like BV said, plus South Florida's not a bad team.
Brian Leftwich is going to help me out
You
here.
got to carry him down the field.
Unless he's throwing the Randy Moss, you might win. But
Yeah, all right. So now we move on. That was a single game on the 20th, man. They're spreading you out. So now we're on the 21st. That's a Friday for those of you keeping score, BV. So we got the Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl. This is FIU versus Toledo. Isn't Toledo the Zips?
Yeah, something like that.
Or the Rockets? Which
no,
one's
they're the Rockets.
Yeah.
The Zips is
Akron
Akron.
is the Zips, they're the Rockets.
This is 12:30 p.m. on ESPN. It's in the Bahamas. It's in Nassau, Bahamas. If you're going to go to a shitty bowl, at least go to the Bahamas.
Yeah, go somewhere
right?
nice.
So, Steve, who you got? FIU versus Toledo, Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl. Who you got?
I first want to know, what is the condition of that stadium? The Bahamas football
I
stadium.
bet you it's nice.
I bet you it's tore up. It used soccer or whatever.
I'll be
else
honest
there.
with you. Do you know who FIU is?
Yeah, it's
Florida
Lane Kiffin and the
International.
Owls, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think they're the Owls.
I think I'd take FIU. They have less to travel.
Steve's going by.
That's my theory.
How many miles you got?
Yeah.
I'm going to take FIU also.
All right. BV, who you got? FIU versus Toledo.
Hoping, first of all, that Lane Kiffin is kidnapped by some local group for money that never gets paid. But I just, on general principle alone, just refuse to pick any team coached by Lane Kiffin, so I'm going with Toledo.
Wow. I am with Wiggs. I want FIU. Steve wants FIU. BV hates Lane Kiffin.
I just want to tune in to see that stadium, Bahamas Stadium.
Dude.
I'm dying to know what that looks like. It's got to be like a minor league baseball stadium.
All right. So on the same day on the 21st, that was your 12:30 game. Here's a 4 o'clock game on that 21st.
So 2 games on Friday.
2 games.
Oh, someone's calling off.
Take Steve's call off right now. We got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Ooh, who's Boise
my
playing?
God. No.
No?
We got Western Michigan versus BYU at 4 o'clock in ESPN from Boise, Idaho. Western versus BYU. Who you got, Steve?
Western fell apart after. Didn't Row the Boat leave there?
Yeah, he's
Row
in
the Boat.
Minnesota.
Yeah, they're
PJ
a mess right now. I will take the Mormons of BYU.
Yeah.
Is that what Jen is? Is she a Mormon?
No.
Oh.
Okay, Wiggs' wife is a Mormon. Continue.
Is she a
Wiggs, who
Mormon?
you got?
Your son's half Mormon. Is that what you're telling me right now?
He's
I don't got
Jehovah.
10, I don't got 10 wives, so I'm good.
What's the difference between Jehovah and Mormon?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person.
Wow.
Wiggs has no idea who you got in this game, though. Wiggs, Western.
Apparently, I'll take the Mormons.
It's a home game for Wiggs. Who you got, BV?
BV. We just found out Jen's Mormon.
I've got BYU big in this game.
Yeah, I think we're all going to go BYU. No one's taking them Broncos.
Yeah, they're a mess.
All betting on Wiggs'
They
people,
forgot how
the
to-
Mormons.
Betting on my peeps.
All
They
right.
forgot how to row the boat. They're screwed.
So we all like BYU. PJ Fleck's gone. Steve only knows row the boat.
That's all I know.
All right.
They
so
had one
now
receiver and they lost him.
we move on to December 22nd.
Whoa.
That should be another
That's a Saturday.
Saturday.
That's
Now
a
this
Saturday.
one's not as loaded as the 15th.
Oh, man.
So
They're running out of crappy bowl.
yeah, exactly. So now this is on the 22nd. We got the Jared Birmingham Bowl. So Jared Jewelers, I assume.
Oh, I was thinking Jared from Subway.
The pedophile bowl.
I think that would be like
The winner gets a
The
touchy-touchy.
the Jared Pedophiliac Bowl.
So we got Memphis versus Wake Forest at noon on ESPN from Birmingham, Alabama. Memphis, Wake Forest. Steve, who you got?
Didn't Tim Duncan play for Wake Forest?
Yes.
Yeah, and Chris
Okay,
Paul.
Wake Forest.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's not playing football right
Because
now.
of that big Tim Duncan reference.
Yeah, because of a completely different sport. Well, since Derrick Rose played at Memphis, I'm going to take Memphis.
Oh,
okay.
man. Damn, he
All
pulled the
right.
Derrick Rose out.
I believe Memphis played in a championship
They
game.
did. They looked decent for a few 5 minutes I watched
Yeah,
it.
that was the Central
They
Florida game,
can't
right?
handle the Demon Deacons.
BV, who you got? Memphis, Wake Forest.
Well, apparently Steve does not watch when Notre Dame plays shit teams because Wake Forest is garbage. and I'm going to go not for Derrick Rose, but I'm going to go old school Penny Hardaway.
Oh, it's even better. He's the coach now.
So BV's locked in at Memphis. I'm taking Memphis as well. Them Demon Deacons are dookie. No, thank
They're
you.
going to surprise you. They're scrappy.
Steve's on the Wake Forest Island because of Tim Duncan.
It's solid logic, I'm telling you.
Okay. So now we move on from that noon game on ESPN on the 22nd to a 3:30 ESPN game. We got the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. We got Houston versus Army coming to you from Fort Worth,
I was
Texas.
going to crack up there wasn't a military.
Yeah, that would
trip.
be a little ironic. So 3:30 ESPN on the 22nd. Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Steve, Houston Army. Who you got?
Well, this is Army's a big season, right? They were like 9-2 or something. They were making a big stink out of that on TV the other day.
Did not know that.
They were
Wow.
the best they've been in a long time. Justin is in the Army, so I'm going to take Houston.
Following that logic, folks, avoid Army at all costs.
Yes.
Because Steve knows an idiot in the military.
Yes.
Wiggs, who you got?
I find it fascinating to watch a team that'll rush the ball like 80 times and only throw 4 passes.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Army.
Oh, that's 2 for Army. BV, who
Wait,
you got?
it's 1 for Army. I took
Well,
Houston.
I'm
first,
sorry.
next
What a
week, one of my
I'm sorry.
favorite games of the year, Army-Navy. Love watching that game. Picking
Are
Army
you
in that,
being
by the way.
sarcastic?
Do you watch Army-Navy game? You for real?
Yeah, I watch it every year.
I clean the house.
I'm a big fan of it.
I took a nap.
Who you
But,
got, BV? Houston Army.
Well, Houston has one player worth anything, the defensive tackle Ed
Who's
Oliver,
not
who has
playing?
decided to sit out the bowl game
Wow.
because he's preparing for the draft with no real defense.
The
in
military
middle.
draft or the
I'm
NFL
taking
draft?
Army.
Yes. BV with Army for the Lockheed Martin, whatever, Lockheed
That's a
Martin
tongue
Armed
twister.
Forces Bowl. That's a tough one to say. I'm going to take Houston just because I don't believe in a team that runs the ball constantly and like Wiggs likes to watch it.
I've
I'm
seen
gonna
how
say
the
no.
military operates.
Do you know who Houston's head coach is?
Who you got?
I was asking you.
No.
Major Applewhite, man, former quarterback at Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was at Texas for like 37 years.
Did he get in
Yeah.
trouble for like having a fight with one of his players?
Yeah,
on
it was
the
Ed
sideline?
Oliver.
Yeah.
He told him to take jacket off.
Okay. So I want Houston.
Fear the flex bone.
So moving on, we're still
Now
in the
wait,
20s.
before we go, so if Navy beats Army next week, are you changing your pick?
Me?
No.
Oh,
No?
Navy won't beat Army next week. They're pretty garbage
I
now.
was saying Navy's terrible this year. Aren't
Yeah,
they?
they had dominated for a long time, but the tables have turned.
All right. So
Turn them tables.
aside, you watch the whole Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, then you turn on, still on ESPN, don't change the channel, folks, the Dollar General Bowl.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Buffalo versus Troy, 7 o'clock ESPN on the 22nd. This is coming to you from Mobile, Alabama, Ladd Peebles Stadium. I don't even know what that is. Buffalo versus Troy, Steve, the Dollar General Bowl. Who you got?
Now, will every refreshment be $1? Because the Dollar General at the stadium is everything $1. Like you can get a pocket dog for $1 while you're there,
Dude,
I'm gonna go with Troy because Buffalo's a steaming turd every time I watch them.
okay, Steve's locked in on Troy.
I'm going with Troy because it's a fantastic movie. I couldn't tell you anything about the game. So.
All right. Wiggs likes Brad Pitt. He's going with Troy.
I was about to ask if Bill Cosby with the Troy, but I remember it was Temple, so I had to run
All
to school.
right. BB, who you got? Buffalo versus Troy.
This is a home game for Troy, so basically they're in Southern Alabama. So I'll take Troy.
It's 3 for Troy. I'm just gonna go outside the box, go Buffalo, just because maybe I pick up a point against you.
Every once in a blue moon, you hear about Buffalo and how they have a really good coach or a good linebacker.
Khalil Mack's the only reason you think about Buffalo.
Yeah, and then you watch them and they get blown out. So I forget Buffalo.
I'm taking Buffalo. I don't know. I
The
gotta
pro
go.
team in the college.
Maybe
Kevin
I'll gain
Sumlin
one on
come
you
from
guys.
Buffalo,
Maybe
too?
I'll drop.
Didn't Kevin Sumlin come from Buffalo?
I know. Yeah, I think so. They always have like a really hot coach in Buffalo and then some hot linebacker, and they just wet the bed.
Okay.
Bobby Hurley coached the basketball team for a while.
Oh, Bobby Hurley.
Yeah.
All right. Because that's like Steve's Tim Duncan reference.
Yes.
Has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Anybody who's a fan of basketball in the 90s, they're loving this show.
Dude, all right. So you just watched the Buffalo
Turnaround
General
bank shot.
Bowl, or the Dollar General Bowl with Buffalo Troy. Then you're going to hang out. You're going to watch the SoFi Hawaii Bowl.
Ooh, Hawaii's playing who?
Notre Dame for
Louisiana Tech versus Hawaii, 10:30 on ESPN from Aloha Stadium in Honolulu. How is this even a thing? That's totally not fair.
Isn't that game always on Christmas night at like 10 o'clock?
It's saying the 22nd.
Oh, 22nd.
22nd,
Yeah.
we are still here. Steve, SoFi Hawaii Bowl, Louisiana Tech Hawaii. Who you got?
Well, if you remember, Notre Dame went there with Jimmy Claus.
I do. That was like Christmas, too, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I remember how Notre Dame thought they were too proudful, but then they're like, we kind of suck. We better go to this bowl.
You got to take what you can get.
I'll take Hawaii because it's in Hawaii.
It's
I
a home
guess.
game to the-
June Jones still the head coach. He can run the run and shoot, right?
Yeah, I don't think he is, though.
Oh, he might have died.
No one knows the head coach of Hawaii.
I don't know.
I'll take Terry Bradshaw and the La Tech, whatever they are.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Wiggs is trying
That's
to get a
good
point
reset.
on us.
Cannonball
right there.
run there.
BB, who you got? Louisiana Tech versus Hawaii in the SoFi Hawaii Bowl.
Louisiana Tech.
You're insane. It's in Hawaii. It's Hawaii's game. I'm
it
taking
doesn't
Hawaii. You're both nuts.
They
Louisiana
practice-
Tech's better than Hawaii.
You know, Hawaii practices by throwing coconuts and pineapples.
Ah.
You didn't know that. It's an insider fact.
They watch Moana for the pregame. All right. So we
And they
just
do a
got
Samoan
done.
war dance and come out and whoop ass.
They're going to give you a few days between those stellar December 22nd bowls. We're moving on to the
Pass.
December 26th bowl.
Past day after Christmas.
Day after Christmas. Get your holiday
man.
out of the way.
Yeah, when's the Belk Bowl coming up?
We're getting there, Wiggs.
I'm
Trust me.
playing euchre with Ken Henson.
All right, so it's the 26th. It's early on the 26th. We got the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. Boston College, Boise State from the Cotton Bowl in Dallas at 1:30 on ESPN. Boston College, Boise State. Who you got, Steve?
Boston College is a weird team this year. They've won some upsets on teams they shouldn't have beat, and then got beat by a bunch of crap balls they shouldn't have lost to. I guess Boston College gets it together for one day. I'm going to say Boston College.
All right, Boston College.
I'm going to go Boston College. I don't have a reason why.
Okay. We got 2 Boston College. BV, who you got? Boston College, Boise State, the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl.
I've got Boston College. Boise State has been going off reputation now for quite a number of years. They're not the same. There's no more. I can't think of the guy's name anymore. The Kellen, the quarterback.
Kellen Moore.
Anyway, thank you.
Moore,
yeah,
right?
Kellen, they
And
don't.
what was that
They're not
Lions
the same
receiver?
team that they were
Titus.
5-10 years
Titus
ago.
Young.
I think they're. I think Boston College wins this pretty easily.
I'm going to go with Boston College because I feel like Boise State's another Michigan. They can't win outside of their own stadium.
It's because the turf ain't blue.
Yeah, I'm going Boston College. So we got a clean sweep for Boston College in the Surf Pro First Responders.
You realize that means that the other team's going to
Yeah,
win.
Boise State's going to destroy them.
Yeah, we all picked Boston
We're all
College.
idiots. All right, December 26th at 5:15. Oh, man. We got the Quick Lane Bowl. This is downtown Ford Field.
Oh, we're going to be
Steve.
going.
Oh, man.
Minnesota
Fat
Ja
guy
Tech. You
road
can
trip.
see your PJ Fleck that you were
Ooh,
rowing the boat about.
PJ's going to be there.
Oh, row the
Minnesota Ja Tech, 5:15, the quick lane bowl in the 26. Who you got,
Minnesota
Steve?
who?
Georgia Tech.
Oh, you said Ja Tech.
Ja Tech, Georgia Tech.
Oh,
I knew where he was going with that one.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
You didn't know what Ja Tech
I thought that was Jacksonville Tech. I was
No,
like, wait,
man,
who?
Georgia Tech.
I didn't know
man.
the nickname on Georgia
Oh,
Tech.
man.
Well, Calvin Johnson's not playing for Georgia Tech, right?
No, I don't
Then
think
I
so.
will take Minnesota.
Just okay. On that fact alone, folks,
They had less,
Steve wants Minnesota.
they had less to travel. They don't have Calvin Johnson.
I also feel like you like to row the boat. 'Cause
Yes,
you've
I
said
row
it right
the
a few
boat.
times.
I'm hoping he turns it around, but I don't think they will.
All right, so Steve's locked in at Minnesota at the Quick Lane Bowl. Wiggs, who you got?
I'm going to say Georgia Tech because the coach is retiring. Triple option is tough to defend.
Very disciplined.
And, I have no faith in PJ Fleck.
Wait, you're not rowing the boat.
No, I'm not rowing
All
the
right,
boat.
so we
Get out
got
of the boat,
1 and
Wiggs.
1. We're split house. BV, who you got? Quick Lane Bowl.
Yeah, I think Georgia Tech makes an effort to send Paul
Everyone's
Johnson out in
fucking
style.
pissing on PJ.
Minnesota won't be ready for that for the triple option, as Wiggs was saying, and Flex magic clearly hasn't carried over to Minnesota, so I
was
think
gonna
Georgia
say,
Tech wins this one easily.
Yeah, and I'm Steve's on an island in Minnesota, rowing the boat by himself. I want Georgia Tech or Ja Tech, as Steve doesn't
Rowing.
want to hear about, because I hate the Big Ten. So,
Well, there's that.
all right, so moving on,
Well,
we're
the
still
Big
in the
Ten usually wins the little crap bowls, so they
I
lose
hate
the
Big
big
Ten.
ones.
So anyway, the 26th, we're 9 o'clock this night. Wiggs was hugely into this game. It's the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah.
We got Cal versus TCU, 9 o'clock ESPN. This is Chase Field in Phoenix. Cheez-It Bowl, California, TCU. Steve, who you got?
First off, my wife always buys the Cheez-Its with the extra cheese on them. It's so annoying. I like
powdery.
I like the plain Cheez-It.
First of all, Cheez-It Grooves is where it's at.
Oh,
very
the grooves.
delicious.
I haven't had the
I'm with
grooves. I have to work on the grooves. But I will say, just because TCU screwed Wiggs over in the Rose Bowl against Wisconsin,
Yeah. Screw armbands, whatever that guy's name is.
I want TCU to win this one again.
You know what? You hashed up an old memory. I was picking against TCU anyways. Since we're going with our '90s basketball theme, I'll take Jason Kidd and Cal.
Okay, give Wiggs Cal, Steve TCU. BB, who you got the Cheez-It Bowl?
They're gonna put armbands on.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, somehow TCU just in one fell swoop fell back down to be the shit team they were for like the 30 years up until like 10 years ago. California is not very good, but I guess I'm going to harness the old school Tony Gonzalez chi in California.
Oh, there
Ooh,
you
there we
go.
go.
Oh, give
some
BB
Aaron
a big
Rodgers, too.
Cal. I want
That's
TCU.
football and basketball, by the way.
TCU can run 75 plays in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I want TCU
And then
and
the
the
Horny
Horned
Frogs.
Frogs. Give me TCU.
And they got armbands on.
I'm not. I'm definitely TCU in that one. They're already starting to run plays. So December 27th now. We're moving on. What day of the week is that, BV? We got that
Thursday.
here? That's a Thursday for you, those of you keeping track.
Are they going to compete with Thursday Night Football in the NFL?
Oh, yeah, they are. So this is 1:30 on the 27th. We got.
Quite the same time.
Listen to this name. We got the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl. I don't
What the
know.
hell's a walkout?
Dude, was it Independence Community College playing in it?
We-
We got Coach Brown.
Temple versus Duke, 1:30 on December 27th
Oh,
at Independence
man, there it
Stadium in
is.
Shreveport, Louisiana. Walk-Ons Independent Bowl, Temple Duke. Who you got?
I've been waiting on this one.
I knew it. You looked at the list.
Because this is Bill Cosby's alma mater. I'm going Temple all the way.
Give him a pudding
He's
pop.
roofing the
Give
team.
him a-
They're winning easy.
Okay. The Temple Owls for Steve
That's right.
versus Duke. This is not basketball.
They're
Wiggs, who you
sponsored
got?
by Jello.
This is like low-hanging fruit for '90s basketball, so I'm not going to go there. But I'm going to go Duke.
Oh.
Duke. Okay.
He went Grant Hill.
BV, who you got? Temple Duke, Walk-Ons Independence Bowl.
Well, this is a classic matchup. You know, you have John Chaney's
Yeah.
1-4 defense, 1-4 zone up against Coach K, and you know his massive
Coach
talents.
K.
And you take the Mark Macon Shane Battier direct matchup. I think it a little bit too much size, a little bit too much talent. I'm going to go with Duke in this one, but
Yeah.
Chaney's defense it's always been confusing for so it won't be an easy game.
Who gets roofied?
So
Wait,
lots.
this is a football game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Duke, though.
Steve, BB's on Duke still.
Oh, man.
Steve's on an island with his Bill Cosby. I'm not doing it.
They're going to do it for the
I
cause.
want Duke.
Geography
in the-
lesson. Where's Temple at?
Pennsylvania, right?
Philadelphia.
I was waiting for him to say like
Okay.
Arkansas or something.
Yeah, I know.
Now, so
The one
that's
I didn't know was
Steve
Troy.
with Temple, the rest of us with Duke. I don't know what that's about. The
When the
27th.
Owls whoop that ass.
Dude, I'm telling you. Steve's got a Bill Cosby reference. So, December 27th at 5:15. They like these 5:15 starts on these.
Not 5:05.
Now, this is a perennial Notre Dame bowl, but this Notre Dame's undefeated. We're in the playoffs this
Oh,
year.
Pinstripe Bowl?
This is the new era Pinstripe Bowl.
Who's going to be dressed like the Yankees?
So, this is Miami versus Wisconsin.
Oh, God, that sounds terrible.
5:15 ESPN from Yankee Stadium in New York. Steve, new era Pinstripe Bowl, Miami, Wisconsin. Who you got?
Oh, my God. Miami's quarterback was so terrible when I watched him a while back. And Wisconsin just rolled over and took it from Michigan so bad.
Oh,
Oh, my God. 13-12 Wisconsin.
Lock Steve in a slobber knocker. 13-12 for
Man,
Wisconsin.
this is going to be a tough watch. Wisconsin
is.
You got a Hornibrook,
Hornibrook.
and I got to go with Uncle Luke and Two Live Crew. I'm going with Miami.
Oh, man. Give
I
him
mean,
the
it's a toss-up.
convicts.
It's a
All
toss-up.
right. Who you got, BV? Miami, Wisconsin in that new era Pinstripe Bowl.
After the obligatory 17-year career of every Wisconsin quarterback that's ever been there, I think Hornibrook borrows the pinstripe pants from Notre Dame, gets inspirational, and goes out in style. Tight win, 9-7 Wisconsin over Miami.
9-7. God.
Plus, it's
Dow
cold, it's cold weather. Miami coming up in the cold weather. You got to keep that in mind.
It will be a great nap game.
So this is 5:15 at 27. I want the turnover chain because I want the OG turnover chain and not all the jockers that pulled it out.
Oh, yeah.
I want Miami. Give me them convicts. I'm with Wiggs. So we got 2-2 on that one. I should be in.
Well, we all agree it's going to be a
State for
snoozer,
record
right?
that Bama's had the turnover belt for years. But anyway.
No one gives a
That's
shit
not
about
as
your
cool as a
elevator.
chain, man.
It's
Just
a
saying.
chain.
When that
And it
briefcase
is
comes
dope.
out, I'm excited. Chain.
So, on the 27th, that night, to Steve's point, up against your Thursday night football, you got the Academy. I'm sorry, I can't talk. I can't even say
the Academic Bowl is
Yeah.
at Stanford Northwestern.
The Academy Sports Outdoors Texas Bowl.
Wow, that's a lot.
Baylor versus Vanderbilt, 9 p.m. ESPN from Energy
geez.
Stadium in Houston where the Texans play. Who you got, Steve, in the Academy Sports Outdoors Texas Bowl? Baylor versus Vanderbilt. Who you got?
Is Jay Cutler still at Vanderbilt?
Let me check that. No.
Is RG3 at Baylor?
Is RG3 still playing?
We still got a negative.
I'll take Rape You. Give me Baylor.
Yeah, I was going to say. This is a home game for them.
Yeah, chuck it all over. the
Waco is how far from Houston?
I'll tell you, I'm going to take Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's better than most people think.
Wow, okay. Wiggs,
They played Notre Dame pretty
Wiggs
tough
going
there
out
for a
with
while.
Vanderbilt. What was it, the Commodores?
The Commodores.
Yeah.
Yep.
BB, who you got?
64s.
Baylor, Vanderbilt.
I think, the game is in Houston, so I think AJ Styles / Chip Gaines shows up to give an inspirational speech before the game, and Rape You pulls off the victory. I do agree that Vanderbilt's better than people think, but Baylor
Lock
gets
you
the
in
win.
at Baylor. It's a home game for Baylor. Give it to Baylor. Steve, I don't know. This is crazy. Give me
I said
Baylor.
Baylor.
Yeah, you said Baylor. Wiggs is on a. You want with Vanderbilt, Wiggs? Who went with
I
Vanderbilt?
went
he
Vanderbilt.
went-
Have you watched 5 minutes of either of these teams play?
I'm going to go with a no.
Yeah, me either. So
I've
Okay.
seen the highlights.
So we got 3
That's
Baylors
about
for
it.
the home team and 1 for Wiggs out on an island with Vanderbilt. All right.
I've been on a lot of islands, Wiggs. Don't forget.
Yeah, we're going to go back. I'm going to get all this lined up so we can see how we all did. On the 28th, that's for BV. That's a Friday again.
Yeah.
Why is it the 28th only a Friday for
there's
Bill?
got to be some good bowls
BV
come up here
knows
pretty
the days
soon.
of the week. Like,
We got to start getting some teams we know.
all right,
eventually.
so the 28th at 1:30 on ESPN, we got Franklin American Mortgage Motor City Music Bowl. Say that 5 times. We have the Ohio State Juggernaut Destroyer in Purdue versus
Yeah.
Auburn at 1:30 from Nissan Stadium in Nashville, is where the Titans play.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we got the Franklin American Mortgage Motor City Bowl, Purdue Auburn. Who you got, Steve?
Fun fact: Purdue sucks except when they play Ohio State. So, because they flashed the record, Urban Meyer, the only team he struggles against is all Purdue.
some reason-
Purdue and Iowa, yeah.
Yeah.
The
So-
two teams you would think the most.
Ohio State's not in this game. So, who are they playing? Purdue. And,
Purdue. Steve doesn't even know you already told
Auburn.
us. Purdue Auburn. I
I'm
believe that what's his nuts from is playing for his job in Auburn. If I'm not
No, he's
mistaken.
not. No.
They're saying he's going to go.
Dude, they're not going to cut him a $40 million check. He'll be around.
I like Auburn in this one. I'm going to stay the Auburn Tigers.
Wiggs is going to pick Purdue. Just
No,
to
I'm
bust
not.
up his
I'm
team.
not.
Justify their
If
loss.
Purdue was playing anybody else but Auburn, I might pick.
Okay.
Screw
Who you
Purdue.
got? Steve's locked into Auburn. Who you got, Wiggs?
Screw Purdue. They can second deck. I'm going to go with Auburn.
Auburn. Oh, man.
Even though Auburn's garbage, too.
Second
but
deck.
BV, who you got? Purdue, Auburn, and the Franklin American Mortgage Motor City Bowl.
Want some hot black coffee?
Yes, for not showing up at bowl games
we
that
on a
aren't.
submarine?
BV's underwater. Who you got?
I think Auburn doesn't show up for this game, and I'm actually taking Purdue to win.
Wow. I want Auburn. I think BV's great.
He feels on his island.
BV, you enjoy that island. The Boilermaker's tongue, except against Ohio State. You are incorrect, sir. All right, so we're still in Camping World. They're hosting 2 bowl games at Camping World Stadium. This is the Camping World Bowl.
Wait, the same day?
No, that was way back on like the 15th or something like that, wasn't it?
They're getting a lot of use out of this stadium.
Dude, big time. So the Camping World Bowl, West Virginia versus Syracuse, 5:15 on ESPN. That same Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. Camping World Bowl, West Virginia, Syracuse. Steve, who you got?
I like West Virginia. That's a pretty good quarterback, so West Virginia.
Yeah.
yeah, Syracuse is one of those teams that played good, and I thought they had hope to beat Notre Dame. Then Notre Dame put them in a body bag. I'll take Will Greer in West Virginia.
Okay, it's 2 for West Virginia. BV, who you got?
From the submarine.
I would love. I mean, the sentimental pick for me would be Syracuse because I am a fan of theirs, but I think their quarterback's still out.
Yeah.
And so I kind of have to take West Virginia in this.
And that's a clean sweep for West Virginia. I'm not going on the Qs. QB1 got hurt, and they were garbage.
Have you seen West Virginia's coach, though? And the mullet
the weird...
The balding mullet?
He looks like kind of Phil Collins in a
he
weird
looks
level.
like a child molester.
So
big
that's
time.
a clean sweep. We all think West Virginia is going to take that Camping World Bowl.
Camping World.
Now, we're on to the Valero Alamo Bowl. We're still on the 28th.
Well, we're getting the bowls we recognize now.
We're getting close. So we're on the
I've heard of this
28th at 9 o'clock on ESPN.
This is a Michigan State staple usually.
Yeah. No Michigan State. We got some state teams, though. Iowa State versus Washington State, 9 o'clock, ESPN, Alamo Dome, San Antonio, Texas. Valero Alamo Bowl. Iowa State, Washington State. Steve, who you got?
If Bob was an insane football coach, he'd be the coach of Washington State.
He does look like him a little bit.
Yeah, he's got a little Maxwell.
He's got a little
in him.
Maxwell. He's got a
He's
hint
like
of Maxwell.
Bob's crazy uncle that's a football coach. I'm going with Bob's crazy uncle in Washington State.
All right.
Doing it for Drew Bledsoe.
Mike Leach is awesome.
Yeah, that's what he's telling you.
And first off, Bob was a head coach. He'd be Doug Marrone for Jacksonville, by the
Yeah,
way.
that's true.
So I'm going with Mike Leach and the mustache quarterback because that guy's awesome. His pressers are fantastic. He's a babbling just idiot. I love him. I'll go with the Cougars.
All right.
What the hell is
Lockwigs.
that noise?
It's BV enjoying another
Quarter pounder box.
BV, who you got? Valero Alamo Bowl, Iowa State, Washington State. We got 2 Washington States here. Who you got?
I think if Iowa State were in a different conference, like for example, if they were in the Big Ten West, they'd probably be playing for the Big. They probably would have lost to Ohio State last night instead of Northwestern. I think Iowa State wins this game against Washington State.
Wow. I'm going with Washington State with the rest of the room here. BV pulled some Iowa State factoids out. You're wrong. Washington State lost to a squeaker. I want Washington State. BV on an island with Iowa State in the Valero
But the
Alamo
real question
Bowl.
is, what were you doing, Bill, with the weird noises?
Was that a Diet Coke, BV? Tell the rest of the room. He's left. All right, so now we're moving on. We're in the December 29th. We got some ranked teams coming up.
Oh, finally.
Now we're at noon Eastern, ESPN, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Oh, Dad's watching this one.
Noon Eastern on the 29th. Number 10, Florida versus number 7, Michigan from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, another stadium hosting a lot of bowl games. Who you got, Steve? Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, number 10, Florida, number 7, Michigan.
All right, is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in Ann Arbor?
Looking at it, no, Atlanta.
I'll take the Gators.
Because Michigan doesn't play on the road.
That's right.
Wiggs,
Well,
who you got, Captain Big Ten?
I'm going to say half of Michigan's defense probably won't play because it'd be like focus on the pros.
Oh, wow.
Jim Harbaugh will have his Halloween costume on, dressed up as Bo Schembechler like he does every week. I will take the Gators. Screw Michigan.
That's 2 for Florida in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. BV, who you got? Number 10 Florida, number 7 Michigan.
Michigan ends up in these kind of games a lot where, like, the number 2, 3, 4 Big Ten team versus SEC team, they tend to own these games. So, much as I hate to say it, I think I'm picking Michigan in this
What
game.
did they do last year? Didn't they choke it away to South Carolina in one of them?
Yeah, they did.
I don't remember.
And they got blown up by Florida State the year prior.
Yeah.
And-
So BV
That was not that was not
no,
the
it
SEC.
was. I'm just talking games in general.
is going to be on a definite island because I will not take the Big Ten. Because I hate the Big Ten.
You're going to take one Big Ten team?
No, I will not.
I got PJ and the Wisconsin
He's on
Badgers.
rowing the boat. I want Florida. Screw the Big Ten. Give me
Ooh,
Florida in
man.
the Chick-fil-A
Such
Peach Bowl.
Big Ten hate.
Now, on the 29th, we're still at noon Eastern. We got Steve's favorite bowl. He was asking for it earlier. The Belk Bowl.
Yes.
South Carolina versus Virginia, noon Eastern on the 29th from Charlotte, North Carolina at the Bank of America Stadium. Who you got, Steve? Belk
Virginia
Bowl.
or Virginia Tech?
Virginia.
Yeah.
So South Carolina is playing in in Charlotte, Carolina, in a bowl.
Yes.
I'm going to go South Carolina.
Steve's going in with them Gamecocks. Wiggs, who you got?
I'm going to take the Cox as well. I'm going to take Will
we
Muschamp
knew that
in
about
South
you.
Carolina.
You
That's
take a
right.
Cox.
Hey.
Pass those cocks around.
Yes. That's 2 for South Carolina. BB, who you got in the Belk Bowl? South Carolina, Virginia.
I'm going with the Cox as well.
That's
that.
3 for
Although
Cox.
Virginia also is a neighboring state of North Carolina, so I don't know that being in South Carolina or being from South Carolina and playing in North Carolina gives them any particular
It's totally
advantage.
different.
Steve never claimed to know anything about geography.
Wow, look at that.
What do you got, BB? Belk Bowl, South Carolina.
I'm taking South Carolina.
And that's going to be a clean sweep for the Gamecocks. I'm going to take Cock with Wiggs.
We're all taking cocks.
Give me
like
that
Cock
Belk
over
Bowl.
here.
Give me that South
And we
Carolina.
all take Cox.
Yeah.
Say 10,000 people. 10,000 people are at that bowl game.
Nice. 10,000 people attend that game. Steve wants tickets if you can get a hold of them. The 29th at 1:15 on CBS SN.
15s.
They're weird starts, man.
Everything's going to
All
start
right.
a quarter after, all right?
December 29th, we got the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl.
What?
I don't know.
Nova, like the car?
Arkansas State versus Nevada, 1:15 CBS SN. Arizona Stadium, Tucson, Arizona. Who you got, Steve, in the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl?
Arkansas State versus Nevada?
Nevada.
Is Kaepernick playing for Nevada?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if he's eligible.
I'll take Arkansas State, then.
Arkansas State for Steve. Who you got, BB? Or Wiggs? Who you got?
I'm going to take Nevada. I don't know.
Kaepernick's
But
not playing, I was just told.
that's okay.
He has this on good authority. So
They won't take him
we
back
got a
either.
1-1. We're split here in the studio so far. BB, who you got in the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl?
I'm taking Nevada, and I'm also taking an E for this game.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait.
You
The
can't talk
question is,
about
could
that.
you get back up? Because I have a hard time getting out
Also,
of these
your
days.
stepdad will no longer talk to you.
Yeah, you're disowned.
Yes.
He wasn't going to anyway. It's all right.
So Steve's on an island with Arkansas State. I
man.
want Nevada as well in the Nova Home.
There's only
Loans
two
Bowl.
things they know how to do in Arkansas, and that's barbecue and football.
Okay.
They don't know how to do football in
I thought you were
Arkansas.
gonna
Have
say-
you
I
watched
didn't
Arkansas
say
play?
college football.
Okay.
Since when is Arkansas like a barbecue hotbed?
I don't know. I just made that up.
All right. So we're still on the 29th.
We're trying to drum interest in some of these games.
29th, we have the two semifinals. We already went through them. Me and Steve are homers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then we're going to keep it moving. Those games are at 4 o'clock and at 8 o'clock on ESPN. One's in Arlington at A&T. One's at Hard Rock. That seems to be where they like to play those lately. So now we're on to New Year's Eve. We're getting into those fancy bowls.
Yeah,
So
all four of them.
yeah, there's about 5. So
Remember
December.
when there used to be like 20 games on New Year's Eve
Yeah,
or New
well,
Year's
not
Day?
anymore, man. They
like
got
3
bills
or
to
4.
pay.
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks.
So now we're on December 31st. We got a huge game. Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. Grumman. I don't know
is
what
this
that
the
is.
second military bowl?
No, the other one was Armed Services Bowl.
Oh,
Armed
I'm sorry.
something. So this is Cincinnati versus Virginia Tech, not Vatech, because Steve will get confused.
Yes.
At noon Eastern on the 31st on ESPN from Jack Stevens Field at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland. Who you got, Steve, in the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman, Cincinnati Vatek? Who you got?
I always hear every year about Cincinnati and how great their offenses are and all the different coaches that came
What
from
are they,
there.
the Bearcats?
Even Brian Kelly even came from there. And then I always watch their bowl games. They always get their asses stomped. So I'm making Virginia Tech.
Vatek for Steve. Don't believe that Cincinnati hype.
Yeah.
I can't argue with your logic there, but I've watched Virginia Tech play as well this year, and they are
Yeah.
hot trash.
Yeah, I know,
So I'll
man.
take Kenyon Martin and the Bearcats again.
Oh, man.
Kenyon Martin.
1-1 over here. So, BV, who you got in that Military Bowl presented by some random company? Cincinnati versus Virginia
That's
Tech.
the name of the company, too. Some random company.
I agree with Wiggs. Everything I've seen of Virginia Tech this year, they're just garbage. And I'm going with Bob Huggins and the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Cincinnati Bearcats, baby. Virginia Tech's not in Blacksburg, so they're going to lose.
Oh, yeah.
They have a definite home field advantage, but not in
No
Annapolis,
Inter Sandman
Maryland. Steve is on an island with those Vatek Hokies.
I don't know. Every time I watch the Bearcats,
I want
it's gotta be
Cincinnati as well. All right, so still on December 31st at 2 o'clock on CBS, we got the Hyundai Sun Bowl. Stanford versus Pittsburgh from Sun Bowl Stadium in El Paso, Texas, 2 o'clock. Who you got, Steve, in the Hyundai Sun Bowl, Stanford, Pittsburgh?
I don't get Pittsburgh. They get inspirational for like a half, and they play people tough, and then they just lose. I'm going to take Stanford.
Yeah, I've seen Pitt play a few times this year. Why, I don't know, but
I know they've been on TV.
I love the
all
yellow helmets and Dan Marino and
we got
whatnot,
that,
but
yeah.
they're garbage. I'll
They
go
have no
Stanford as well.
offense.
No,
Two
they don't.
Stanfords. BB, who you got in the Hyundai Sun Bowl, Stanford, Pitt?
I first have to ask, how is this even close to New Year's Day? This should have been one of the games on the 15th. This is horrible. I mean, I agree with both of them, and I'm taking Stanford because Pittsburgh is a hot mess. But no, this game should have been over 2 weeks before this.
Oh, wow. BV is trashing the Sun Bowl.
It's the trash casting
Yeah.
because they both suck.
I like David Shaw. I think he wins right and all that stuff. I like Stanford. I like that weird, creepy Christmas tree. Give me Stanford.
That is the worst.
I know,
The
a stupid
mascot.
Christmas tree.
Yeah.
That's 4 for Stanford. No one believes in Pitt. We'll see you later. BV should have said that it should have happened well earlier.
Take his ass back to MSU.
Now, look at this. We got a new one here. We got a Red Box Bowl. This is still on the 31st at 3 o'clock.
Wait, do you get to watch half of it and then take it back to the Red Box?
You might want to after this matchup.
Oh, yeah.
So, we got the Red Box Bowl, 3 o'clock on the 31st. Levi Stadium where the Niners play in Santa Clara, California. Michigan State versus Oregon. Steve, who you got in that Red Box Bowl?
Are they serious with this one? First off, that's what I ask. MSU literally has no offense whatsoever. Their defense will keep it close for about a quarter. Then these bright neon yellow Oregon people,
We'll go fly.
whatever colored uniform they wear, Oregon easy. That's my pick. there.
Give Steve the Ducks. I don't know if there's going to be too much love for Sparty.
Yeah, Michigan State should be in the Waste Management Bowl because they're terrible, man. They're, like I said, their offense is a hot mess. They can't do nothing.
Terrible.
Yeah, give me Oregon all day.
Oregon all day for Wiggs. BV, who you got in the Red Box Bowl? MSU versus the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, you talk about just no offense whatsoever. I mean, Mateen Cleaves is not coming through that door anytime soon. This is going to be. It'll be the most boring 3.5 minutes of competitive football you've seen all year.
Wow.
Oregon's going to win the game, and it's not going to be close.
It's gonna be like 38-7.
Seven's generous.
And that's without their starting quarterback.
That's a defensive touchdown, 7.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking with my theme of the Big Ten can tug my sack. Give me Oregon all day. I hate you, Big Ten. All right, now we're still on the 31st at 3:45.
Got some games on that there.
You're only halfway through.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is amazing. These are the best bowl games I've ever seen. 31st, we got the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Missouri versus Oklahoma State, 3:45 on ESPN. Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. They got a stadium specifically for the Liberty Bowl. Memphis, Tennessee. AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Missouri, Oklahoma State. Who you got, Steve?
I really liked Oklahoma State's coach because he's insane, just like Mark.
He's got a
Lynch.
power
The
mullet.
two most insane coaches in the country. I'm going Oklahoma State.
Oh.
Dude, I've got to go with the best mullet in college football, Mike Gundy and the Cowboys.
That's the thing. I couldn't think of his
all
name,
right.
but that's
We got
it,
two Oklahoma State. BB, who you got in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl? Tell me you're feeling the mullet. What do you got?
Well, all right. So neither one of these teams actually plays defense, but Missouri has actually played teams that do. So they might have actually, like, I don't know, seen what real defense is. So I'm going to say Missouri in a close game.
Okay, this BV going wrong because you follow the mullet wherever it goes. Your SEC bias. Give me that Oklahoma State and the mullet.
Missouri's another one you always hear about how they're so up and coming and everything. Every time I watch them, they get their asses handed to them. So forget Missouri.
All right, Steve's burying Missouri.
Yeah.
We're following the mullet.
Didn't they have
BV.
students putting racial stuff all over the buildings there one year?
Oh, man.
They're insane in Missouri. Forget that.
All right. We're still on the 31st. Steve's got theories.
I think Nelly went there or something. I don't know.
Nelly.
I don't think Nelly went.
He went to Missouri. I'm pretty sure.
He's from St.
What
Louis.
is
I don't know if he went to
happening?
Missouri.
The wheels are falling off, folks. We got on the 31st at 7 p.m. on FS1. San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
it's not the Poinsettia Bowl anymore?
No, it's the
San Diego County.
Credit Union Holiday Bowl.
That's a shame.
Wow. Vieira Metro's hosting a bowl night.
Northwestern Wildcats versus Utah. 7 o'clock FS1.
Ooh.
They've got their own stadium, San Diego, California. Steve, who you got in that San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, Northwestern Utah?
Northwestern's scrappy. I do like that, but I did just watch Utah, and they only get Utah. But they played pretty defensive. It's on the West Coast. I'm gonna go Utah.
Do you like this? Could be a decent game. I don't
It
know
could.
about you
Yeah,
guys.
like, I mean, 'cause
I actually would tune into this a little
Yeah,
bit.
Northwestern's one of those teams that they always play good teams well for a
Pat
while,
Fitzgerald.
and then the Fighting Fitzgerald. Like last night, they looked just happy to be there,
Yeah.
and I think they'll feel the same way when they're out in San Diego. And I think Utah's going to win.
They're happy to be there, but he's taking.
Don't they have like a terrible bowl record too? Northwestern.
I don't know.
I thought they were like
It's
3
Big Ten. I don't follow it. BV, who you got? San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, Northwestern Utah.
Utah by at least 3 touchdowns.
Ooh,
Wow.
in a rout.
I see that.
Northwestern's happy to be there.
That's
and getting
right.
Smoked.
They're happy to be there.
And we already know what Charles is thinking.
No Big Ten. No ever. Give me them Utes. All right.
The 2 Utes.
So, late into the night on December 31st, we've got a big bowl game for me. We got the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, NC State versus them boys, Texas A&M, 7:30 ESPN from some random bank field in Jacksonville, Florida. Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, NC State, Texas A&M. Steve, who you got?
Again, following another trend where you always hear about NC State. Then when you watch them, they lay a turd sandwich. Texas A&M just went into 72 overtimes with that one team. I hate to tell Charles this, but Jimbo with the Texas
him
A&M.
that boy!
Texas A&M, I'll go
Give
with
them to him. All right.
Yeah, unless Philip Rivers is playing for NC State, I'm
that.
gonna
I knew
go.
there's a reason I
I'm
hated it.
gonna go with A&M as well.
VP, who you got in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, NC State, Texas A&M? Tell me you want Texas A&M, and give me some Jimbo.
Not even Phillip Rivers could win that game for North Carolina State. This will not be close. It will not be enjoyable to watch unless you're a Jimbo slapping like
Whichever
Charles
one
is.
should be.
Yeah, this is one of the bigger mismatches of the bowl season. I think this is going to be I could see this being easily like a 30, 35-point win.
As a matter of fact, give him Phillip Rivers. I'd like to watch him die.
Okay. It goes without saying, give me A&M all day. Been
How
loving
many
on them
actual
all
Jimbo
year.
games did you watch this year?
Way too many.
I watched a
Did you
few
watch them?
myself. I don't know why.
I'm telling you. They got hosed in that Clemson game.
Oh, my God.
But anyway. So, moving on. We're almost done, folks. I know we're all getting tired. Make sure
Only
you
5
stay-
more games to go.
Yeah, let's stay hydrated.
Only 25 more games to go?
Exactly.
All right.
Now, these are January 1st games.
Now, there's always like a random crap bowl that's on like January 2nd or 3rd, right before the
It
championship
used to be like the
game.
Independence Bowl
Yeah,
when they played
some
Toronto.
weird-
Yeah, I don't think they have it anymore.
I don't see anything. The
Central, I
ESPN
think
taps out
Central
after the
Michigan or
first.
Yeah.
Western Michigan was on it one year. It was like right after all the good bowls, and then that came out. I was like,
Yeah,
what the hell is
that
this?
got a lot of viewership.
Yeah, no.
So anyway, we're out of the January 1st bowls. Big game, noon Eastern on January the 1st. Outback Bowl, Mississippi State versus Iowa at noon on ESPN2. There's another one played at Raymond James where the Bucks play. Who you got, Steve? Outback Bowl, Mississippi State, Iowa.
I'm not a fan of anything from Mississippi, so I'm going to go with Iowa.
I feel like you were going to get racist just then. I don't know
I
why.
Yeah, I had that feeling too.
It was tipping.
You know.
Yeah, screw Iowa. I'll take Nick Fitzgerald and Mississippi State.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Mississippi State has 2 for Mississippi. No, wait, Steve wanted Iowa.
I
I'm
want
sorry.
Iowa.
Yeah, he doesn't like anything from Mississippi State racially.
He likes the fat white boys from Iowa better.
Give him okay.
Yes, much better.
Outback Bowl, Mississippi State, Iowa. BV, who you got?
Middle of the road SEC team beats middle of the road Big Ten team pretty much every time because Big Ten sucks pretty hard. So Mississippi State won't be particularly close. 2 touchdowns.
Iowa shows up in bowl games. Don't know why.
But they don't. They can't wave to the kids from Tampa, Florida.
Well, they could.
At the third
Technically, they
quarter,
could.
where we had to put the children's hospital. Screw the Big Ten. Give me Mississippi State.
Well, first off, everyone's confused in that bowl because Michigan's usually in the Gator Bowl. So
we're the Wolverines.
They usually have a lock on that bowl. You are right.
So
All
since
right.
Michigan's not there, everyone's confused.
So Steve, because he doesn't like Mississippi for racial reasons,
It's
took
not
Iowa.
for racial reasons.
The rest of us.
Well, no, Mississippi State's another one. They're going to challenge Alabama. They're going to
Yeah,
give Alabama
they get smoked,
Alabama walks there, thumps them by 50.
Steve's
And
got a lot of
then they
issues with
always have-
listening to hype.
What was that during the draft? Was it Mississippi State with the lineman that had the gas mask on that was putting weed through it?
That was Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Your Mississippi's confused.
I told you everything in Mississippi sucks.
I'm telling you, it's racial. Gotta go, folks. Listen, January 1st at 1 o'clock on ABC, the VRBO Citrus Bowl. Kentucky, Penn State, 1 o'clock. Camping World Stadium again. 3 bowl
World-
games from Orlando, Florida. Who you got in the VRBO or Vacation Rentals by Owner Citrus Bowl?
It's literally a timeshare. Is that what
That's
that
where
is?
we rent our houses from.
Oh my god!
Kentucky versus Penn State. Who you got?
I don't believe in Kentucky. They were rolling good and then got thumped. Give me Penn State.
Steve takes Penn State. Wiggs, who you got?
I hate both of these teams equally. Like you said, Kentucky was hyped up all year. They can run the ball. They can't throw it worth a damn. They got a good defense, but James Franklin's a terrible coach at Penn State. So screw Penn State. I'll take Kentucky.
Ooh, Wiggs.
Someone doesn't like
Going-
Penn State in the room.
Yeah. Captain Big Ten, no less.
Yeah, he was touched.
VRBO Citrus Bowl, BV. Kentucky, Penn State. Who you got?
Kentucky is really good until they play good teams and then they get bounced. Fortunately for them, Penn State is not a good team, so I'm going with Kentucky.
Kentucky for BV. I'm actually going against my rule. I'm going to take Penn State.
One Big Ten team, you take Penn State.
Sell out?
I need the points this
Man,
late.
way to go against your beliefs.
Screw the Big Ten still.
Except for
I'll
Penn
take
State.
You're going to take another Big Ten team coming up.
Is-
Oh, okay. All right. So we're still on the first. We got the PlayStation for Steve, the Fiesta Bowl, 1 o'clock on the first. Number 11 LSU, number 8 Central Florida from State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. Who you got, Steve, in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl versus LSU versus Central Florida?
First off, wasn't this hosted by Tostitos not too long ago?
Yep.
Couldn't afford it.
PlayStation just snuck in there. UFC won't have their quarterback, correct?
UCF.
UCF.
I don't know about the UFC.
UFC will, but
Well, his
That
knee,
kid-
he almost
that
lost
kid
his
may never
leg.
play.
Yeah,
So,
that
He's
guy's
been gonna
career's
play again.
done.
he's going to be
dead.
happy to walk.
Yeah.
LSU does have the coach no one can understand from Waterbury. I'm going to go to that. I'll take LSU.
You know what? This is one of those tricky games for me. This game reminds me of Oklahoma Boise.
Yeah, it does.
Auburn last year with them. It's like LSU's got good defense. I don't trust their offense. I think UCF has everything to play for. I'm going to go with them.
The Fighting Maxwells.
Wow.
I mean, because it's like LSU's like they're going to be there, go through the motions, whatever.
So
and
that's-
this is a team that's going to come out and want to prove something that we got left out again. We're
Yeah, that their
undefeated.
quarterback's knee exploded. I
That
mean,
didn't, yeah, but I mean,
they barely beat Memphis with like God's will at the end. I mean,
hey,
okay.
I'm not betting my mortgage on it, but I'm just saying.
It's his pick. Leave him alone.
Okay. Yeah, wow. All right, BP, who you got in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl? Number 11 LSU versus number 8 UCF.
Well, LSU does have Farmer Fran, so that's kind of hard to,
Who the hell's Farmer?
from Waterboy.
Is that the guy from
But-
Okay, I didn't know his actual name. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm conflicted the way I think Wiggs was conflicted because this is one of those classic, highly ranked team end of year collapses because they thought they had a chance to play possibly in a playoff and the next thing you know they dropped the game against they get beat soundly by Bama. They dropped that 7 overtime game against A&M. They could very easily just come into this without a whole lot of interest and without really being ready to play. And if they do, they'll lose. I'm going to just hope because I think if they play with any kind of urgency at all, they'll win. But you know what? I'm taking UCF too, although I don't feel good about it.
On the basis of LSU doesn't care.
Yes.
Based on the fact that,
Wow.
because it's one of those things that
That's how most those
I was
teams
waiting
are.
for him to give 72 reasons and then take LSU. I was waiting for that.
No,
Wow.
I just, yeah. I'm on the fence on this. I guess I'll take UCF.
I'm going to take LSU big. I think LSU is going to smoke them. I don't know. That's where I'm going to get with the
There's a,
difference. in names.
I
there's
hope
a
you're
potential
right.
for an upset there, but I like LSU.
I like LSU. Wiggs and BV went to Central Florida. That's probably our most compelling bowl that we'll have to check out, and that's on the 1st at 1 o'clock on ESPN. All right, so moving forward, now we're at 5 o'clock on the 1st. We got a huge Rose Bowl.
The granddaddy of them all.
Granddaddy, that's
There
right.
it is. Where all the
Boy.
Buckeye fans claimed that they were just as happy to be in the Rose Bowl
They're
as in
all
the playoff.
lying.
Yeah. So
And
anyway,
avocado.
on the 1st, 1 o'clock or 5 o'clock ESPN Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Number 9 Washington versus number 6 Ohio State from Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Steve, who you got?
Now,
Washington.
this
Ohio
is
State.
one where I fully believe if you don't take Ohio State, you are just inspired.
I am going to go against my
I
Big
know.
Ten rule.
I watched that Friday night game. Washington's a nice team, but they don't have the offense to compete with Ohio State. I like Ohio State, and probably pretty easily, 31-10.
Wiggs, as if we got to ask you who you
Yeah,
got.
you don't gotta ask. I just hope the right team shows up.
Well, that would be
we
my
have a
so-
championship caliber team that only played championship caliber football once, and that was against Michigan.
Well, it's a good time to have it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, these are these
So
bowl
then, but
games.
is
where-
your LSU theory going to come
no,
in here?
I don't. I don't.
So somehow
think so.
Urban can get him to play, but Orgeron can't.
This could be Urban's last game.
He's
So
gonna get
I mean,
carried out the field.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
gonna
Stop.
He's gonna die
in a
of brain
stretcher
cyst.
maybe, but I mean, yeah, I can't.
All right.
I can't
Buckeyes, 2-0 Buckeyes. BB, who you got in the Rose Bowl presented by Northwestern Mutual? Washington, Ohio State.
Oh, this sucks because this is one of those games. This is going to be one of those games where Ohio State comes out. They just completely put everything together. They beat the living crap out of Washington, and all you're going to hear for the next 6 months is, "We got screwed. We were clearly better than we should have been in the playoffs. Blah, 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 blah. Look what we did to Washington." And it will make no difference whatsoever. But I'm going to say I'm betting they drop 50 on Washington in this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to
Don't
be.
lose by 30 at Purdue, and you'd be playing in top
Yeah,
four. So
well,
that's all there is to it.
And I'm going to go against my rule. I got to go with Ohio State.
Come on! I knew it, you bastard. Take Washington, you.
I'm not taking
At
Washington.
least you know Charles will fold under pressure. So
Exactly. Big Ten blows, but give me the Nittany Lions and the Buckeyes.
I thought I was the one that couldn't suspend reality.
All right. So we're in the last bowl according to ESPN. On the first,
Last one.
8:45 in the Superdome, All-State Sugar Bowl. Number 15 Texas versus number 5 Georgia. 8:45 on ESPN from New Orleans. Who you got, Steve? Texas, Georgia.
I'm just going to say Texas are giant frauds.
Yeah.
Whatever they scraped together this year is all fraudulent. I mean, they somehow pulled a miracle against Oklahoma. They got owned by Maryland. Georgia's going to win by 70. I got Georgia.
I'm with Steve this one. Horns down. Georgia's going to roll Texas.
Oh, my God.
Screw Tom Herman and
I
all the
think
rest.
we're going to have a hard, clean
70
sweep.
to 10.
Dude, it's going to be rough. Who you got?
And this is
BB,
what
in
the season ends on, is this game?
All-State Sugar Bowl. Well, this is the national championship.
yeah.
Who you got, BV? Texas, Georgia, as if I have to ask.
Well, yeah, and the thing is the only thing I can't decide here is whether Georgia or Ohio State is going to put up the most points. This is going to be an old-fashioned mollywhopping. It's not going to be.
It's going to be a squash match, isn't it?
So let's go.
Yeah, this is going to be like watching Sid Vicious come down to the ring to wrestle against like some guy, and then powerbomb him, make him put him on the stretcher, and then beat him off the stretcher while he's on it. Drop elbows on him to beat his ass on the stretcher. This is horrible. This is like they might go for the pin and then do like the Bundy 5 count.
So BB's got Texas. Everyone in the room.
Texas.
I don't think anyone's going to even think it's going to be Georgia. Huge. I don't know.
I mean, unless they catch a sleeping giant and Georgia's pissed off and feel like they should be in the playoff, that's the only chance Texas has.
Oh my God.
And they pull out like 37 trick plays, and they just start it with that. It's going to be
So that's your 2018 bowl season. So we're going to wrap up the few things I wanted to talk about, and we kind of touched on earlier. I wanted to go around the room, find out who's everyone's big surprise was, and who was everyone's big disappointment. So let's start with Steve here. Who you got? Who was someone that really did better than you thought, and who was just someone who just shit the bed? Who you got, Steve?
Well, I'm going to be slappy. I thought 12-0 Notre Dame, didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
I didn't see the Florida State being such a turd sandwich.
A huge
I mean, we were hyped to get those tickets to go to that game, and we're like, oh man, this sucks. The Florida State's a mess, and the biggest surprise of the year for me was watching Ohio State dismantle Michigan. I did not see that coming.
No.
I thought, I texted Wiggs, I said, they can win, but I didn't think like that. That's my stuff for the year.
So those are the big ones for Steve. Apparently, Florida State, I was with you. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, Florida State was bad.
I didn't know.
I mean, No, you're right. Notre Dame.
Wiggs, yeah.
Notre Dame was a surprise. You figured they'd be a good team, but you figured they'd pull classic Notre Dame and drop one of those games that they should.
If it wasn't for switching the quarterback, they would have been like 10-2 or whatever.
Florida State disappointment. Ohio State's disappointment for me. Once again, elite talent and don't live up to the hype.
Wow, such snaps.
I have a different take on the Ohio, and I talked to you guys about it. Like, I don't get how a country got together and just said Ohio State was crap. I don't.
Have you watched all 12 games?
Yeah, well, no. I mean, I'm just saying, like, they have the caliber of talent and everything. You just can't. Everyone thought that Michigan was going to go in there and pound them. I just didn't believe that.
Well, you know what? You can't go to Purdue and you get shellacked.
Yeah, well,
then have a close game against Minnesota, Northwestern, Maryland. Shall we count the rest of them?
Yeah.
So once again, talent that didn't fulfill its potential.
So your big disappointment's Ohio State, and your big surprise is going to be Notre Dame. And
yeah, I mean, Florida State was obviously terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. For the 35-year bowl appearance snapped.
Just lost it. Yeah. So apparently, I don't know if BV's watching us at home. Packers just let go of Mike McCarthy. Wow.
That's no surprise.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
Joe Philbin's going to be interim head coach.
Yeah, wow. Isn't he the old Miami Dolphin guy? Yeah, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, crazy. All right, BV, who's your big surprise? Who's your big disappointment for the year? Who you got?
Well, I think we have the obvious ones that you guys have already covered on. Notre Dame is not as big a surprise as – I mean, they're a surprise, but I don't think it's quite that big a surprise. They're a good team. I'm actually – believe it or not, I'm surprised – very surprised, from the beginning of the year to this year about Alabama. I did not expect them to be this good. They lost.
Okay, and all of us collectively rolled our eyes at you.
Seriously, I did not expect because I didn't expect them to be as good as they were.
You got the top recruiting class for like a decade. I mean, what?
I thought it would be a down year because they lost literally half their team.
BV Humble Pie sucks. We don't like that answer.
Pick out anyway. Answer. I'm also surprised about if you want. I mean, not that they had like a great year, but I'm surprised about Northwestern. Especially after starting out 0-3. Disappointments, I mean, Florida State's the obvious.
Yeah.
I would also go with Wisconsin was a disappointment.
One of my biggest disappointments was the whole Big Ten West is just terrible. I'm sorry. And that's half the people I argue with on a regular basis, like all these Big Ten slappies. They need to realign. They don't want to hear, like, they're basing it on geography all the time and not what anyone wants to watch. I'm over
just move state over to the West.
Yeah, something.
The problem is that's most conferences. They're always heavy on one side. SEC's the same way. You got Georgia, Florida, nobody. So, I mean,
I'm sorry to derail you, BB. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah. No, they might have been better off keeping it the leaders and legends.
Yeah, and you could have just done whatever.
Yeah, and I keep thinking of disappointments, and the ones that come to mind all tend to be Big Ten teams. Penn State's a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State's a disappointment.
Michigan State's offense should not be as bad as it is. I don't know what the hell that is.
Michigan State offense is a good disappointment for the year.
I think Washington is a disappointment.
My biggest disappointment of the whole year is the Pac-12. Just terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing is just an abortion this year. That whole conference got together and decided to just be terrible.
Yeah, let's all shit the bed collectively.
They suck kind of all the time. It's just that they were suddenly supposed to be really good, and they ended up being basically what they are every year.
I just am not, like, just looking at them, I'm like, okay, you got some names and everything, but they just can't do anything right now. And then, as far as one of my biggest surprises, back to was the Arizona State with the Herm Edwards thing. I thought was, he actually, no one thought he would do anything. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, because everyone talks about how, like, these coaches that are out of touch and have been out of football for a long time think they can just come back like the John Gruden in the NFL and all this kind of stuff. And he actually kind of put it together and had a decent program. I mean, he's not doing anything super crazy, but you could see in a few years.
I got one question for the Pac-12 for everybody. Does anyone believe how long, if at all, was it Chip Kelly's going to turn around UCLA?
I think he had magic at Oregon years ago, and it's hard to, you know what I mean? Like, that reputation, that's tough.
You got to give him time to get his players in the system in there before you can really say that.
That's what I'm
He's
asking.
going to need at least 3-4 recruiting classes to get his
Do you
caliber
think he'll
players.
get there, though, or is it just kind of wasting time in UCLA?
I mean, dude, if you can't recruit at UCLA, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, honestly, you go out there, the weather, the
bitches.
Look, well, yeah, okay, I was going to put a little better than that, but if you can't recruit there, I don't know where you're going to get kids to come to Eugene.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
well, he also had the Nike
money.
war
Yeah,
chest behind him there in Oregon that he doesn't have at UCLA. He didn't have to compete with USC and with the Arizona schools and that. UCLA is another one of those like traditional programs that really is only hanging on by reputation. They haven't been good in a long time, and I don't think they're going to be good anytime soon. The Chip Kelly thing came from doing something. His heyday was when that style of football was unique, and the rest of the country, for the most part, hadn't kept up with his speed. So teams learned a long time ago around the country that you need speed to win, and so unless he gets elite athletes and gets without top talent, he won't even. I don't think he'll even seriously contend for like the division championship in the Pac-12. Wow. And I don't know that he won't get the same kind of talent that he had in Oregon. So I think it's going to fail.
So one failure, and then some of us think maybe in a couple of years. I don't know. USC's not exactly scaring me, and Stanford's eventually going to start falling off a little bit. He might be able to do something.
USC's got to cheat more.
Yeah, they got to get back to buying Reggie Bush's
they
family.
get Pete Carroll back. So
You can cheat at USC. You're awesome.
Yeah, I know. So, is that going to wrap us up for this?
Yeah, I think that's,
All right, everyone. There was our big college outlook. We had our college professionals in here, Wiggs and Bill. I'd like to thank both of them, and Charles, of course. And this is Fat Guys and Little Podcast. You can catch us on the website at fatguyslittlepodcast.com or on Apple iTunes or Google Play or Spotify.
Ooh.
So, and in a couple, at the end of the year, we will post all our results and see who actually did the best. I'm telling you, Temple's going to put me over the top. The Fighting Bill Cosby are going to save me. So until next